Hello, good morning. Thank you for joining me. My shop today is September 10th, 2024, and I'm going to be putting this record player back into its console and check out how well it works once it's back in its home console, which I managed to get into my tiny shop here. There it is. There's the console. So that's where the record player is going to go. I'm going to drop it in kind of lightly before, I'm not going to screw it all in tight. The record player actually goes down in here, down in this spot here. We'll set it in, hook it up, play it and see what it sounds like. And at the same time I'll have an opportunity to carefully test the receiver in the cabinet here to judge its operation. So there's some question about the receiver's condition and the possible intermittent problem it may have. So that's the plan. I'm going to work away and get this record player back in the console, and then we're going to hear it with the console itself, console amplifier, and big speakers. I think at this point it might be wise for me to kind of finish this off. So I've taken the platter off, and I need to put a washer that I didn't get on back onto this intermediate wheel, and take care of that before I put this in the console. Okay, just a little washer. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Where did the little washer go? Uh-oh, I gotta go on the hunt. Did I just put it on the deck here? I hope not. Okay, gotta find a little tiny washer. Oh no. When I lose track of something like a little washer like this, what I do is if I can't find it, I go into cleanup mode. I spend my time cleaning up and straightening up, and often I find them during that process. And I get things cleaned up a little bit. That's how I deal with that. Okay, that washer's on. That's on. Snap this back, and there's another issue with the center here that I have to resolve. And just pop this on. Something's going wrong here. Here we are. Okay. There's a collar here. This collar, which dropped out of here, and I really don't know how it fits into the situation here. Looks like it's the perfect diameter to go around here, so it's been a bit of a can't imagine that goes in there. And it drops right in this area here. I don't get it. Oh, the worst part of it is I've got two of them. How have I got two of them? So this one came out of another record player, probably identical to this, or very similar to the same make, and it never made it back in. Uh-oh. That's not good. I can't imagine what this is needed for. So down at the bottom here is a ball bearing, probably a ball bearing race, which maybe I should attempt to relubricate. turn the whole record player upside down and shake these parts out, because I don't think I can get them this way. I can pull it out with a pair of pliers here. These aren't big enough. They don't open enough, and I think these are going to be too fat to do the job. Nope. Doesn't want to come. So at the bottom here is a washer, and then below that is usually a race with ball bearings in it, and it's in a cup form. You put some not grease into it, and then put the washer back on top, and then this rides on that washer. The washer rotates on the ball bearings, and everybody's happy after that. This other piece, which I think I just left under here, what would it be in there for? I don't know. I'm only guessing it goes in here. Well, there it goes. There it goes. Exactly what that piece is for, I don't know. But it's in there. Okay, I'm going to snap that ring on, and we're going to put this record player back into the stereo and hear it. I've got a few more things to take care of here. One of them is this arrangement with the power cord. That's not very good, doing that. So someone has replaced the power cord, and they've used a polarized style of plug. I don't know if they paid any attention to that. I don't know that it matters particularly. So but look at this. So they did this. They cut the old wire and put these on. But if you just follow this wire a short distance, there's a clamp, and a little further up, there's a connection block. So why didn't the person disconnect from the connection block and run the new wire through the clamp and up into the block? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that before we start. There's a small issue here with maybe not so small, come to think of it. The polarized plug goes in the outlet one way, which is great, so we can figure out where the ground is going. A lot of these old guys, old pieces of equipment like this, they don't have polarized plugs. They solve their problems other ways. What's going on in this thing? I think the way it works is, I'm worried about the record player here, that the record player wiring, the power wiring, and the motor that goes to the motor through the switch into the motor rather, is done in such a way that there's no contact whatsoever with the rest of the record player. It's not grounded to here or anything at all. It's completely isolated. So polarity of the wires coming over to the record player is probably not important at all. Yeah, so I'm gonna fix this up because I'm gonna have to do it sooner or later. Might as well do it now and just have that much better of a situation. Yeah. I thought it might be worthwhile to take a look at these. Let me just turn some lights off here. I have these LED lights that I don't use. This one here, the dead flies in it. Because they buzz. I've got LED lights around my house. They buzz and they hum. That's terrible. So, so this is the remnant wire that was left in, and this is the new wire attached to it here. And I really, yeah, nothing soldered here. Really not the way to do this. That's really stuck on there. There we go. Okay, new wire, and I think this is fine. I think this wire's, there's no problem with it. Look at this wire though. This is what he left in there. Can you see it's all cracked there? So it's completely lost its flexibility. Now it was rigidly installed inside, so nothing was going to happen to it, but this gives you an idea of what's going on inside here and what must have been going on inside the rest of the power cord. Hard to judge what's going on here. Quite the mess. Look, there's no insulation on this, on the white wire. There's nothing. Just some string left. That's why the fellow had put all that black tape on it, trying to compensate for the fact that he lost the insulation when he was working with it. And the white stuff seems to, the black stuff's not so bad, but the white stuff shot. Okay, anyway, it's always good to look at these things and try to learn a lesson from them. And I'm going to extract this from this hole, which is really annoying because, you know, it's got this on the end here. And you can't pull that through that hole. So we'll just use this cutout here for the wire to go through. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some solder on the ends of these so they'll fit nicely into the holder. The connector, I guess is the right word, the connector. And we'll have a more secure arrangement. Yeah, that's good. Okay, there we go. Another little bit to the story here. Okay, I think I've got everything set up here. I'll just set the camera like this. First thing we'll do is make sure the unit works at all before I try it with the record player. So, let's see, power on. Let's do it this way. Okay, here we go. So to turn this guy on, so there's an off button, there's no on button, so you just pick something. So we're going to pick broadcast band, volume down, and here we go. Oh, the lights came on. That's good. Minute here to warm up. As for an AM antenna, yeah, inside this is a small loop antenna, and there's a switch here. Antenna on. It's a ferrite antenna on and off. I've got it on right now. Okay, what do we hear? Hey, we hear something. So this is 640, 590. That'll be 590, very weak, and this will be 680.
Today out of the southwest with guaranteed high 24 degrees. Sometimes this evening 12 degrees for the low.
Balance?
For today, the guaranteed high 24. Right now in downtown Toronto,
Not doing anything.
It's 16 degrees.
There's a button here called stereo.
Shop this morning in Mississauga. Now it led to a frantic stop at an overnight construction project.
That's having an effect now. Let me just turn this off. There's no stereo on AM. It's just how this thing works. Check again. Oops. So, interestingly enough, even in AM, if you push the stereo button, you begin to use two separate channels to the speakers, and you're able to operate the balance control. On AM, you're moving the same signal left and right. It doesn't make any difference. With the stereo button not pushed, listening to AM radio, the balance control doesn't do anything, which makes sense. That makes sense. I notice the Magic Eye is not. There's no magic in the Magic Eye. There's no glow. I can see the heater though. If you look at the right angle, you can look past the blocker here that's supposed to keep you from seeing the heater in these tubes, and you can see it just a little bit. So, you know what? I think if this were totally dark, we might actually see a bit of green in there, but it's very, very weak. Okay, so AM's working. Now we're going to flip it to FM. FM's dependent upon the antenna. Oh my gosh, listen to that. Okay, we can't play that too much or I'll get a copyright hit. That was fantastic. Let me do a quick tune. Sound quality of this guy is fantastic. Fantastic. I wish they were playing an ad. We could play it more. So that gives you some idea of what quality is possible just with an FM signal. A record should sound similar. Often what we're hearing, well not anymore, but back in the day, we were hearing records being played over FM radio. The record is a good source. Well, we're going to find out. We're going to find out about this one. Okay, now, don't really know how good the cartridge is I put in there until we test it out. The sound quality can be affected by the overall system. So, oh come on camera, what are you doing? Just, yeah, be happy. Okay. Oh geez, this doesn't roll out like some record players would. Put this in here. This is quite awkward to do. Okay, now we need to set, look at all these buttons here, holy smokes, and all these controls here. I'll give you a close-up of what these controls do, because there's something really cool about this guy. But we just want to hear it play. So I would have to push PUTR, which means pick up, or tape recorder, I think is what that means. It's interesting because there's only one external input switch, yet there's a couple external inputs at the back. So it just puts them both on. Maybe it just puts them both on at the same time. And then, you know, if you're playing a tape and not a record, that's what you hear. The tape, you wouldn't know the record player's still connected, I guess. Okay, kind of hum level. Now there's no ground wire running from the platter. As you remember, when I had this on my bench, I had to run a ground wire to get rid of the hum. Hum, hum, hum. Only at the highest volume, and that should be ear splitting. Anyway, you'd never hear that hum. Okay, I think we're ready to give it a try. Here we go. Something else. Something else. Okay, let's hear something else. Okay, I have to do a little volume test here, so I'm going to cut the microphones way back and then crank the volume up here just briefly. Oh, there's no question you can achieve party volume with this guy. Definitely. Fill your house upstairs and downstairs with sound. Sound quality is good. Bass maybe just a little lacking here, but that's not surprising with a ceramic cartridge. But compensation can be done here. I'm going to give you a close look at these controls because this is the coolest part of this thing. Along with all these buttons, which we haven't pushed yet. We haven't pushed all these different buttons here. You know what? I'm going to fix the focus here before we do this. Here, we can listen. Okay, let's try some of these buttons here and see what happens. Multisonic. What would multisonic be? That'd be good for everything. Oh, for crying out loud, who's in here? Is that you, Shadow? Yes, of course it is. So I'm going to put put this here. It's a little awkward, very awkward here. And I'm just going to change the focus. Bear with me here a second. Now what you're hearing right now is the needle. Okay, don't know how these work in relation to these buttons. Let's find out if we can. Wait for the next song. This is an uncopyrighted record, which is why I get to play it on YouTube and not get a copyright hit. Not enough music. Come on, guys. Need more music. I don't know what to make of those buttons. Obviously, they're changing the tone a little bit, and it seems like these tone controls still have an effect even when these buttons are pushed. So, lots of stuff to fool around with. I think that's the bottom line. Lots of fun in it. Got it on orchestra here. I think probably like this light, the jazz light. Oh, it did come on. The voice light did not come on. It's probably burned out. Now I'm going to guess when you push multi-sonic, the light should come on in here. So maybe there's another burned out light here, which we can take a look at. Well, not bad. I'm happy. Now, this player, unlike many, still has its 45 record dropping machine here. It's got a fair bit of wear on it, so it's definitely been used. Looks like you turn this to slide it over top of the guy, and then you do this, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how this works exactly, but it does have a dropping mechanism. How does it drop only one record? So don't know. We could play around with this a bit. Made in Western Germany, it says on it. Problem is, I don't think I have any 45 records, oddly enough. I'd have to go dig around and see what I can find. This isn't the best record either. This record is a demo record recorded by a band. They, with their own money, and they might have pressed a couple hundred of these. I don't know. And I don't think the quality is necessarily the best. If we put a better record in here, we get a little better sound, but it's not bad. I like it. So you can expect the cartridge to be a little weak on the bass and maybe a little weak on the treble too, but maybe not. These controls are really helpful for that, because you've got bass, low mid-range, high mid-range, and then treble. It gives you a lot of opportunity to affect the sound and compensate for anything you don't like about the way it sounds. Well, that's fantastic. Let's try the balance. It's an interesting balance control. It doesn't seem to cut the sound out from either side completely. It just seems to move it a little this way, a little that way. It doesn't really cut it right out, so it's a little subtle. Okay, I think that's all I need to see with the record player. Let's see if it'll shut itself off here. A lot of these players are arranged so when the record player shuts off, it shuts the stereo off too, but not this one. And you can see the pickup didn't pick up. Could be just because of the particular dimensions of the record and just the way the record player is. It just, this particular record, it won't detect the end of it. Kapop. Kapop. Okay, let's go back and just listen to the radio a little more. So first we're going to go to broadcast band. Now, it's a fixed loop antenna. It's sitting this way, which I think is a fairly preferable way. I can actually turn this a little bit here. And maybe even get a little bit better. That won't make any difference. We'd have to turn this thing right around to really make a difference. But let's operate this antenna switch. We'll turn off. Oh, son of a gun. That was a little surprising. Sounds exactly the same. What's that tell you? Let me get around the back here. Maybe what I'll do is I'm going to change cameras and Give you a bigger view of stuff. One of the concerns with this is fading. It may have a fading problem, so I want to pay attention to that. Don't touch the volume, Jim. So the static you hear now has come from a light that came on in my laundry room just over here. It generates a lot of interference. So it'll go off in a moment. Okay, that was me touching the loop antenna. I turned it down there a bit. I touched the loop antenna again. Well, that's kind of weird. Didn't seem to matter where I put this switch. The ferret antenna appears to be operating, and it seems to be the same this way or that. Either the switch is broken, or who knows what's going on there. But also, when I put my finger on the antenna, of course, I'm adding signal that I have in me. I become like an addition to the antenna, but I bring a lot of noise into the picture too. The fact that the radio got quite a bit louder suggests to me that maybe there's an alignment issue with it. You kind of expect, if everything is tuned up to the peak, that if you interfere with that by putting something close to the antenna like yourself, that would cause a detuning and a drop in the signal. Not necessarily, because at the same time you're bringing more signal in. So I'm not sure what to say of that. Let's tune right across here. Got very quiet. Ooh, 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 ooh. What was that? Some dirt in the capacitor, probably because it hasn't been, it hasn't been turned for so long. Literally cleaning the tuning capacitor here by doing this. Not doing the best job of it, but there we go. Whatever it was, dust or perhaps small metallic growths, crystalline growths that have grown across the plates. When you turn it, you knock those things off. It could be that, because dust shouldn't cause a short circuit, but something was really affecting it there. There's not much to pick up here at all anyway, so chance of getting something maybe around 860. Maybe right in here. So it looks like I'm picking up the carrier, but there's not enough signal there for the radio to resolve the actual signal sound for us to listen to. So that also is an indication of possible alignment problems. In other words, if it were to align it, it would receive better. Now, AM, who's listening to AM these days anyway? Let's go to FM. Really impressive sound. Really, it's just... missed the ad. Okay, we're going to tune across. So I'm going to go to the high end here. Low end, actually, 88. This goes low end to high end. It goes backwards from the usual. FM signal. There's a circuit in an FM radio called a limiter. And the idea is you've amplified the signal and made it quite strong right towards the end of the process of the radio. One of the things they do is they feed the signal through a limiter. When the signal comes out, and you may not understand what I'm saying if you're not into this kind of stuff, when the oh, you know what, I'm showing myself to the wrong camera here. Okay, so when the signal comes out through the on the way into the limiter, it has amplitude modulation in it, noise and stuff. When it gets through the limiter, it comes out chopped down but straight smooth. There's no longer any amplitude modulation in it, just the frequency modulation that you're looking for. That's why FM radios are quiet. That's the only reason. There's nothing special about FM and AM in the sound quality sense. Not really. So after the limiter, you get noise-free operation, and you could call that, sometimes that's referred to as full quieting. Now, what if the signal's weak coming in? So it starts out like this, and it's weak, and it's got that static and amplitude modulated stuff in it. It comes to the limiter, but it's not big enough to get limited. So it goes through the limiter, comes out the other side, still contains the noise, the amplitude modulated noise. So I'm going to try to demonstrate that with this radio by tuning into a signal. You'll notice when it's weak, you'll hear the hiss, and then all of a sudden it will go very quiet. And that's the point where the signal's gotten strong enough to be limited by the limiter and come out the other side clean as a, I don't know. I was going to say whistle, but that doesn't quite make sense. So let's see if I can demonstrate this. See, none of these are hitting the limiter. Okay, so here's one. I'm just going to tune through it fairly rapidly. Just listen to the point where the hiss just kind of goes away. Right there. And out the other side, you hear a noise and a buzz. This one won't limit. It's too weak. That's close. Okay, hopefully I didn't get a copyright hit from that. So now the signals are weak because of where I live. I live far away from most FM stations. Now there's a couple close to me. There's one in the city next door, about 20 kilometers from here. We're down to low end of the band, and that's some of the strong ones we heard at the lower end of the band. Higher end of the band tends to have stations down in Toronto and down in that area for some reason. And from here in my basement, with the antenna that's built into this guy, it's pretty tough to pick those ones up. Get them loud enough or strong enough to enable the limiter to do its job and to make the FM signal just whisper quiet. And that's the whole trick of FM, is the limiter. Now, that sounded great. Reception, really pretty good. Even here in my basement with the local stations, the reception was really pretty good. Let's see if we can get I'm going to go after a particular station. We'll go after 91.5, which is CBC. Probably not playing music. Let's see if I can find it. So 90, can be down around here.
With them, and also cast them out in a way that's very beguiling. And also, as I said, there's something about fiction that takes this whole person and engages both your intellect and your emotion.
Now, there was a complaint about this radio fading in and out, and I think I'm going to demonstrate what was happening. I believe it's multipath interference, or just interfering with the FM signal, because the FM signal is a high enough frequency that it does a lot of weird bouncy things. The wavelength's only, an arm's length long, and so it can fit into different things and bounce around and do stuff And I think that's what's happening. The way I'm going to demonstrate is I'm going to turn this on, and I'm just going to walk around my shop here a bit, and we'll see what the radio does. So far, I have not noticed it spontaneously fade for no good reason. I haven't noticed that. Let's see what happens here. Don't start playing music.
Thank you very much.
So many insights from Jan Martel, the Canadian
No music.
writer of Life of Pi. That was his chat with Tom Power. The stage version of Life of Pi is on in Toronto. CAA Edinburgh.
So getting a copyright hit on YouTube is not a bad thing. You're not a bad boy if you get one. What it means is the owner of the copyrighted material will acquire any income from the video, and the video maker will not. That's how it works. That keeps everybody fairly happy. I think that's a pretty reasonable arrangement, actually. It's kind of allowing everything to happen and keeping everybody out of court.
It sent a woman to hospital.
There we go. I'm going to walk around now.
This investigation is also causing some continuing issues this morning for the commute in the Mississauga Road and QEW area. It is one of the most highly anticipated events of the U.S. presidential election campaign. Kamala Harris is debating Donald Trump tonight. It is set for 9 o'clock this evening. Definitely you can watch it tonight on CBC television. Officials in Gaza say at least 19 people have been killed in an Israeli airstrike on a displacement camp. The strikes targeted Al Mawasi camp, which is a designated humanitarian zone. It houses more than 350,000 people. Israel says a Hamas command center was operating within that camp. More news coming up.
Signal's fairly weak, right? You can hear the...
Forecast now for Barrie. Sunny with fog patches dissipating this morning and a high of 22. Tonight partly cloudy, fog patches developing overnight, a low of 10. Wednesday a mix of sun and cloud, fog patches dissipating in the morning and a high of 25. Peterborough and Kawartha, sunny with fog patches dissipating in the morning, high of 22. Few clouds tonight, a low of 8. Tomorrow a mix of sun and cloud with fog patches in the morning and a high expected of 24 degrees. And that's a look at our forecast.
I had to be quiet during the weather
I'm Holly
forecast.
Schlanger, sitting in for Tom Power. You're listening to Q.
So it's pretty clear that unless I'm standing in this area, the receiver doesn't receive all that well. And it's all interference with the antenna and the signal. Now, if you remember back in the day, I was actually telling the owner this. Back in the day, way back when TVs were black and white and people had rabbit ears on them. Now, we never had rabbit ears in my house, but a lot of people did. Rabbit ears are just it's basically a dipole antenna that you can swing the dipoles around. And so you put on your TV station, then you start swinging these things to try to get rid of the multiple images that might be on the TV and other stuff. That's multipath interference also that people were trying to fight with. The FM band that we are tuning here is in the middle of the old television band. So channels 2 to 6, I may not have this exactly right, 2 to 6 were below FM, and the FM band was there. Correct me if I'm wrong. The aircraft band was next, and then more TV from 7 to 13, channels 7 to 13. That's how they arrange it. So there's like a TV high and a TV low. Well, that's why a lot of people had 2 antennas. We had 2 antennas at our house, just on a pole off the chimney. And we have one antenna aimed at Toronto and the other antenna aimed at Buffalo. I live basically between Buffalo and Toronto, nowhere near where I live now. In what was basically the world's best location for television. I had no idea of this. We got all the Canadian networks, we got the American networks, and we got a private station from Hamilton. I didn't realize that not everybody got television like that. We got everything. Very lucky. With 2 antennas and no monthly payment. Yeah. Okay. Again, I haven't heard any evidence of fading other than this effect with the with moving around the antenna. So where is the antenna? I will show you the antenna here. Here, we can listen to this.
And
as I rotate this, I'll be rotating the antenna. We'll see what happens then.
me out thinking about having to write it weekly or daily or whatever they do.
I talked to a priest about that recently.
Running out of power cord.
Weirdly enough, I was talking to a priest, and I said to him, "Do you have to write like a homily, like a sermon, every day?" And he said, "Yeah." one every
Timber!
Yeah, that's where you lose me.
I thought they might have lost you on
Okay,
the,
hold
on
on,
the
hold on.
no partners, no...
Clearly this isn't working out. I'll grab the other camera and go around the back. I'll show you where the antenna is. Here. This is- bring down the house if I'm not careful. Here. Okay, we'll switch to the other camera. So at this point, I really don't see what it is I can do to this FM radio that would improve it. It's working great. Yeah, it's going to have old capacitors in it and stuff like that. But you know, there's a risk when you work on these things. Okay, so where's the antenna? So here's where it starts. This is the antenna connection here. You follow this down to here. Follow it across to here. A little dark. You can see there's something there. There's a small coil, and then you see two screws and two what are actually sheets of aluminum foil running left and right from that center point. So this is one rabbit ear, if you like, going this way, and the other rabbit ear going this way. These antennas are not as casual as they might look. There's a reason why they're as wide as they are. There's a reason why there's a coil put here. The engineers have done their best. But the problem with this antenna is it is fixed in place in the bottom of the console. So you can't aim this antenna. There's no swinging the rabbit ears with this one. You'd have to swing the entire console. Mostly with FM radio, what I find, and I'm sure you find this too, you're driving your car, sounds great. You stop at the stop sign, and it just sounds terrible. But you roll your car another foot or two forward, and you're only 6 inches. I just did this the other day. 6 inches, and it clears right up. So that's a point because of all the reflected signals. At this point where you've stopped your car and literally stopped your car antenna, which is often in the windshield, I don't know where they are actually these days. Oh, mine's up on the roof of my van, of my SUV. So if you stop and that antenna is in a place where all these signals are kind of canceling out and everything's gotten really weak, then you hear that nonsense. The signal, if you're listening to FM, the signal can drop below the point where the limiter operates, and so you start hearing all the scratchy noise and everything just sounds terrible. A couple feet forward or a foot, even 6 inches forward, you leave this spot, you move your antenna into a better spot. That's a problem for this guy. So this has got to go in your house according to furniture locations. I mean, you can't put it anywhere. You have to put it where it has to go. And if you put it there and it just so happens that's the stop sign spot, you can get really poor reception on one station or maybe another. It wouldn't be all stations, I don't think. It would be a particular station. Solution is to move the antenna, but that's a problem. So all these guys come with a facility or a way to connect an external antenna. External FM antennas are really simple things. I think I have one here that I made, I think, if I can get it. Here it is. So you can buy these things, they're dirt cheap. This is a piece of flat lead. Remember that's from your old TV days? Remember I was telling you about that antenna on our roof? Here it is. This is the wire that would lead up to the antenna. So in here, there's a wire here and a wire here, and they're held apart by the plastic a certain distance. You see I've soldered the end together here. That's one part of the antenna. Then similar length going out this way. So the antenna, let me just tip this up a bit here. So the antenna is supported, and you see the lead dropping down. That's just another piece of the same cable, 300 ohm cable. Goes down, will go on the back of the receiver. You can buy these things made, probably better than what I did here, but this is how simple they are. This is called a folded dipole, and it would be 300 ohm impedance. 300 ohm? 300 ohm? I think so, yeah. No, 20. Something like that. So you could either whip something like that up yourself or buy one over the internet because they're dirt cheap. Maybe you've got one, because often when you buy stereo equipment, they throw in one of these antennas. Somewhere I've probably got one too. And that can be hooked up. And then you have the opportunity to move it around and do the rabbit ear thing with it and see if you can pick up your station better or not. Well, that's the only thing about this. I should go a little bit further. The older FM radios do not have a modern circuit called a phase-locked loop circuit. The phase-locked loop circuit, which is in your car radio and in all radios, I don't know, after 1975 or so, I don't know, I'm guessing, somewhere after the date of this one, the phase-locked loop helps deal with this multipath interference problem in some way that I cannot tell you. I do not know. So this guy is he's going to be more susceptible to this whole problem I'm talking about than a regular, more modern FM radio. Okay. Okay, so I have to let all this sink into my head here, what I discovered today. What have I discovered? Record player's good. Sounds good. Working good. Receiver working good. Sounds great, actually. It sounds better than a record player, and that's not too surprising, actually. Some lights are burned out. Often these things are made so you can get your hand in there and change the light without doing too much. You can take a look at that possibility. It's the light behind the word voice. When you're going to push the voice button, you probably never are. You're probably going to have the stereo button going for sure, and probably none of those other buttons. This is probably the way you would operate it, just like this. You push this multi-sonic, and the multi-sonic I think means no tone manipulation going on with buttons. I think it's the neutral spot, if you like. Hey, what about shortwave? I'm going to drink some coffee and we're going to check it out and see what this guy does. So I have a pretty good outdoor antenna. It's an active antenna called a mini whip. It's not a long wire. And let's just look at the back here for a moment. So this piece is actually an extension from the same looking thing, or it's right on the back of the receiver. So they just extended sort of this connector out. You see the FM antenna, and they're showing the dipole, the folded dipole system that I was showing you in an actual one. And here they're showing the AM antenna goes in here and the ground goes here. Now that's very important for me because I'm using a grounded system here, so I need to know that the ground is going into the ground, and it is. If I do it the other way, nothing bad happens. It's just we're not going to hear much. This is the antenna connection coming over from my bench, heading up and over into the back of the receiver. So let's see what we get here with shortwave. It's what time is it? It's 11 o'clock in the morning. Not exactly the best time. Let's see if I can roll this. Oops. And it'd be a good thing if I could close my shop door. Let's see if I can pull that one off. There we go. Okay. Shortwave. I must push a button for shortwave. Shortwave 1, shortwave 2. No, that's not shortwave. Shortwave 1. Shortwave 1 is written right here. And this runs from 3.5 megahertz up to 8 megahertz. So this would be an evening band you'd want to listen to in the evening. We'll run through it and we'll see what we get. Shortwave. Something else I didn't mention about this receiver, something that's really quite nice about it. It has a pointer here. It has another pointer here. It has a separate pointer for the FM. When you switch between AM and FM, some gears actually shift, and the drive coming from this dial is transferred to either the AM or the FM system. Shortwave is AM radio. It's just AM radio at a higher frequency. So all the AM stuff is ganged together, so to speak, on one pointer, running along here. Hey, wait a minute! I got a better view here. Yeah. So you can see the shortwave AM pointers here. The FM one is sitting over here. So when I turn the knob, it moves this pointer. I switch to FM, the gear shift, and then I'm moving this pointer. The beauty of that is you can leave the FM radio tuned to your favorite FM station while you're busy listening to shortwave. Oh, what happened there? What's happening? Well, okay, so that's the first fade I've heard in this receiver. A fade in, I think. I'm not really sure what happened there. Could be as simple as this button here. It's a little dirty. And I think that's what it is. So these push button switches are notorious for getting dirty and then making bad contacts. That's definitely what's happening there. So we'll assume it's good enough for now. That's a strike against this. I'd have to remove it from the cabinet to clean these buttons up here, I think. Hope not. Let's just check it out. So we're starting at 3.5. It'll be nothing. Might get something up here.
Precedented. In a very real sense, these events will empty the Earth. Isaiah 24.
So I'm pretty sure this is 9.33 megahertz, but on the dial,
it waste, and turneth it upside down, and scattereth abroad
8.3.
thereof. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed.
Maybe a little more up here. No. So that's another indication that the radio could use some bench work. In this case, it would be alignment, and that would cause this to receive properly. Now, what was that? This could be anything. Again, could be this button. Let me just touch it lightly. I think it's the button. Okay, let's go to shortwave 2. We're down at this end, so we're going to go down in frequency from 18 down to 8 megahertz. We should pick stuff up through here. It's quite possible. So push the button. That would be good. Now, the button's all messed up. Yeah, that's not very good. Now you don't know if it's connected right or connected wrong at the end of the... Now, the owner of this probably doesn't care two hoots about shortwave, but let's just see what we can do here. So I don't know if that switch is connected properly or not. Let's just go. Let's see what we can find. I'll get a copyright hit from that. So we're coming into 15. It should be... The broadcast bands where countries broadcast information, music, and cultural stuff are located in discrete areas on here. Now I know where they are because I've been doing this all my life, but it's not obvious looking at it necessarily where you would go. So it's just discrete areas, like for instance, One would be around here, one would be around here. You know what? They are marked. They are marked. They are marked, for crying out loud, Jimbo. So you can see, well, this is interesting. Let's just read this a little bit here. Where's the focus? Ceylon, India, Italy, and Brazil. But see above it says 16M. Can you see that? I'm sorry, it's a little out of focus here. 16M. 16 meter band is what that stands for. If you go down the way, there's another collection of countries. France. I'm going to focus this because, you know, it's like these yeah, this is what I'm doing here. These things are interesting in what I find anyway, what cities they list. Okay, we're going to fix up the focus here so we can get in. There, that's better. You can't see it. Now you can. So again, there's the 16 meter band. 19 meter band France, Hawaii, Australia, and Japan. Wow, I tell you, I can pick up Australia in the mornings. Japan, I don't know about that. Of course, this is all old information. These, yeah, you're not going to tune this area and find France. That's not going to happen today. India, USA, England, and Italy again. Italy's a big radio country. They got a great history of radio technology because of Mr. Marconi. 31 meters. France, the Vatican, Japan, South Africa. Well, you might flip out, but you can still tune in the Vatican radio. They still broadcast shortwave, and you can pick them up. Maybe not there. Like, I'm not really showing you where you pick them up exactly, just somewhere around that area of the dial. And you see the dial itself. This is not a precise dial. It's just 13, 12, 11. I mean, a precise dial will have little points marked off in here. So, I mean, this is not your major shortwave communications receiver. This is just something you want to listen to the loud, strong stations on it. Let's continue the hunt. I'll flip to this camera now. Now it's fading in and out. It's almost certainly fading out because the signal itself is fading in and out, not because of the receiver. So I'm tuning very slowly past the 15. So I'm between the 15 and the 14. There shouldn't be any broadcast stations. So again, the dial's not accurate.
Now here's my dad, Brother Daniel Bird, with today's broadcast.
You also notice too, so that sounds like ham radio, single sideband, which this receiver cannot resolve. So you're always going to sound like somebody with a bunch of marbles in their mouth. That's what it would sound like. And you could pick it up. The thing about this receiver too, I mean, from 18 down to 8 is a lot. It's a lot. So as you tune, even though the pointer's moving slowly, you're actually traveling quickly through the band. It's very easy to tune right past the station. You never know it's there. And I think it's a bunch of ham stuff here.
Your truth and your peace from the pen of Isaiah and the writing of Hebrews. Thank you in advance for the peace that will take place.
So there's a lot of privately operated, not a lot, there's a few privately operated, very strong or powerful or significant shortwave broadcast stations in the United States, and they sell time on their transmitters to whoever's willing to buy time on it. And there's quite a few religious outfits who want to buy time and get their message out on shortwave. So that's why, and I live in Canada. Canada is bolted to the United States, so whatever's going on in the United States usually leaks up here too. So all the American shortwave broadcasts, which I imagine they're trying to shoot it out worldwide, you can certainly pick it up here in North America easily.
In the matchless name of Christ, our Savior and Lord.
So if you're into that kind of stuff, I'm trying to identify the language here. I don't know. Let's keep going. Just 2 weeks. And for this time of day, I'm down around 13 megahertz. That's a European shortwave band.
I'm the Executive Director of Power of the Future, and Ike Skelton, the Camden County Presiding Commissioner. For additional information, visit their website, www.csctalkradio.com. To register, call 573-796-2166 or send mail to P.O. Box 73, California, Missouri 65018. Again, that website, www.csctalkradio.com. The phone number to register for the event, 573-796-2166. And the address to send mail, P.O. Box 73, California, Missouri. That's the town, California, in Missouri, 65018. Again, this event is at 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., Saturday, September 14th, 2024, and will take place at the Performing Arts Center in California High School at 1501 West Buchanan Street, California, Missouri, 65018.
Hi there, Vivian here. I'm your host on CSC Talk Radio, independently owned, national syndicated talk show with well-known common sense conversations. Look us up at www.csctalkradio.com and or chat with me on Facebook. I'm based in mid-Missouri and reaching out to our nation. WWCR is my shortwave provider, and I'm proud to be here with you each weekday morning sharing a cup of coffee.
So if you caught what she was saying there, she said it's a private broadcast, and they're using the WWCR transmitters. They bought time, or they're paying WWCR to go on there. WWCR stands for Worldwide Christian Radio, and they have they have at least one anyway, powerful transmitter, often transmitting on multiple frequencies throughout the day on shortwave. And is anybody listening? I don't know. We're listening. Let's carry on. We got a little more to go.
It's time to come home by bringing...
Está concatenado, todo lleva un orden que no podemos verlo porque los segmentados somos nosotros. Exacto. Pero pertenecemos incluso a una unión mayor, mucho mayor. ¿Qué tal el mar de los caníbales? ¿Qué experiencia tienes con el mar de los caníbales? Bueno, el mar de los caníbales, amigo, es la más reciente novela de Fernando Velázquez Medina.
I don't recognize the language.
Que acaba de ser aquí.
Surprised we're picking all this up.
Háblame del mar de los caníbales.
It's the same signal in two places.
Quizá a principios de los 80. Oí hablar de que había existido un más en el siglo XVI, yo digo, cubano, pirata.
Cuba. He said Cuba. So it probably is Cuba. Radio Cuba is active. And we're down to 10 megahertz, and I'm so surprised we're picking up stuff. So remember, we picked up on the other band a strong station up at the end here. We're going to pick it up again, probably here.
To new and improved methods of assault. And I believe the act of praise.
This is probably that same station.
The most unexpected
And here it's around 9.3, which is correct.
And I want to start with a passage from scripture that really shows this in action. It's a fascinating story, and in fact it's
British people with their British accent do really good on American radio. There he is again. Now, in picking some stations up in two places, that could be an artifact of the radio. That could be something called the image signal, and shortwave radios, especially ones like this, which cover large ranges of frequencies, often have trouble with suppressing images. So you can pick the same station up twice, roughly a megahertz apart. Stronger when it's in the right spot, and then another weaker version of it about 900 kilohertz away. Okay, that's a pretty thorough test of the radio. I did notice the magic eye here. Should we douse the lights? Bring down the house lights. Bring down the house lights here. Okay, I'm going to end up unable to move. I gotta. If there's ever a need for remote control lights, this will be here. I got a couple more lights yet to shut off. Then we'll look at the eye. Or if this is what it takes. Now I've triggered the automatic light in my laundry room too, but that shouldn't matter. Let me shut these ones off. Interesting looking. Let's go with the other camera. It's gotten dark in here. Okay. What was I going to do? Yeah, look at the eye. Okay, so the eye is glowing. There is a glow there. Let me just... We need to tune something in now. Let's see what it does. Oh. I need a strong signal. So I'm going to tuning it. That should be strong enough. So if you look at the image, this to me looks like a double pi eye. So there's an area on the left and right, they look like butterfly wings, and they're green. And the top and bottom, there's a pie-shaped area. It's not as green. It's actually not green at all. And the idea is, as you tune through the station, the butterfly wings should change size. Oops, stepped on the wire there. But let's just watch for that. So if you look at the top pi area,
eyes, you, all the men of Judah with
nothing happening. Let's see if I can find a stronger station. This one's really strong. So look closely at the eye now. Look at the bottom of the eye. So the top's reacting a little bit, bottom's reacting more.
Gobernaba el sur de Italia, o sea, toda la parte de Nápoles, Sicilia, Cerdeña, toda América, supuestamente por órdenes del Papa, y también habían conquistado las Filipinas, ¿verdad? Que cuando tú mirabas.
Okay, let me get some lights on here before I electrocute myself here. Cameras are pretty good for compensating low light conditions, so you're seeing through the camera. It looks like there's more light in here than my eyes are showing. Okay, I think I've really tested this guy thoroughly. As for the magic eye, so the magic eye has no bearing on the quality of operation of the radio. It can be completely dead. You can pull it out, and the radio still operates exactly the same. It's a little like a panel light. You know, if a panel light's not coming on, it doesn't mean anything to the radio. But it is a tuning aid, and it is a thing of interest. People like to look at it. When they're new, the eye here would be glowing brightly, very brightly, and it would draw you would draw your attention. This one's so dull you don't even know it's working at all. The replacement of the eye is possible. You can get a new one, like maybe it might be around $100 or something. I don't really know. The prices are all over the place these days. So if you had something like this and the magic eye is dead in it, probably the reason it's dead is because it wore out. These things they don't have a long life. They wear out early in the age of the receiver, and the owner will say to himself, why am I going to go spend $20 on a new eye that doesn't do anything for this radio anyway, and I'm hardly listening to it anymore anyhow, so why bother? And that's why these radios are often have a dead eye in them. Nobody bothers to replace them after a while. And there's not a lot of these around. There's not a lot of good eyes around. Magic Eye. Magic Eye is a nickname, but it's ubiquitous. Okay. Now, turn it off. Let's see. Can we turn it off? Yes, we can. Fantastic. Okay. That's it for now. I have to think very hard before I choose to do this myself, and the owner has a few things to say about whether they want me to drag that out, and for, frankly, probably very little gain at this point. And risk. There's risk. I take it out, I could break something. I could break the glass. Oh boy, wouldn't that be bad? It makes me very nervous at times, handling other people's stuff, knowing that a little mistake and I'm going to be telling them I've ruined their stuff. And that's why I'm hesitant, very hesitant to do things without a strong indication that they're needed. Okay, that's it. I'm done. Thanks a lot for watching. Not sure what I'm going to have in my shop next. I don't know, or it will be more of this. I don't know. We will see. Who knows? Thanks a lot for watching, and see you on the next video.